last week I used my YouTube analytics suggestion, and that seemed to work out great for the video. So today, I'm combining 2 more recommendations YouTube gave me, and I'm gonna make some funny mechs. Let's get to it. First up on my list, I wanted to create a mech with a rather peculiar feature that would allow me to conduct an experiment. I'm sure you're wondering what that feature might be. Well, when I was brainstorming ideas for this video, I thought it could be pretty comical if I made a mech and its only weapon was a single stake. And of course, the location of that stake would be yeah, you guessed it. The idea is to try and impel other mobs and see if it's even possible to cause damage with this design. So, let's go test it out.
Outstanding!
I found a nearby bokoblin fighting a random person, so I decided to gather some speed and try to slam into it. The results I was seeing didn't seem to validate if the stake idea worked, but damage was being done. However, yeah, it could be because I was also running it over during the process. I don't know. So, I changed course and set off for a different mob to test my creation on. And this time, I was certain I had it perfectly lined up. So, I set off going full speed towards the mob. And it did nothing. But I did manage to run it over. Even with the disappointing results, I'm proud of the work we got done here today. Next up, I decided to give myself a little challenge and see if it was possible to make a Stickman Mech. The idea is simple and straightforward. I'm gonna create a stickman out of the building materials you find all across Hyrule, but at the same time, I want to try to make it at least capable of taking down some mobs. The real challenge will be finding weak enough mobs that won't auto-destroy the stickman body. But I'm prepared to make upgrades if it comes to that. With my idea coming together, this was my makeshift Stickman Mech. Yeah, he kinda serves more like a stationary bodyguard, but I got a good feeling that this won't totally fail. While out looking for things to throw at this creation, I only saw a small amount of mobs nearby. So, I decided to go ahead and test our Stickman Mech against the mob holdout that's close to this spot. Surprisingly, we were off to a great start, and nothing was even trying to break the Stickman. But I did have to move it around a couple times. Overall, it had 0 issue securing the win. And once it was all over, it danced back and forth, almost like it was proud of itself. Next up, I want to try to make a short, little, compact mech. Usually, I like for my mechs to be huge, but since all my other creations have been irregular, I figured I would try something new. And it looked like it was coming together pretty well. I even got to use some materials I hardly ever use, like a spring and lights. All in all, this ended up being my final result. Also, yeah, for some reason, I added eyes to it, but I think it kinda added some much needed character. With all that settled, let's go ahead and test this thing out. Immediately, I thought it was great that the eyes light up when it locks onto a mob. And honestly, that's probably my favorite thing about this build. Other adjustments I would recommend if you plan on making one of these yourself is it needs some more firepower. However, as a small, compact mech, this thing just makes me happy. I mean, watch it try and fight off this tree. Impressive. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Also, leave a comment because I respond to those pretty often. And as always, I'll catch you next time.